Hello. Good evening. Hopefully you all can hear me. I know I'm in the mall right now and I had a live planned for you. But my impromptu visit out here at the mall happened this evening. So before I get started, I just kind of wanted to jump on real quickly and just remind you all of a couple of things and how the year is ending and how we have our last summit of the year for you, the 5-day Financial Empowerment Summit. In this summit, we are going over 5 topics, 6 actually, including me. But I have 5 guest speakers that are coming on to talk to you every single evening about some of the things that are going to help you build wealth, but also help you set yourself up to where as you start building these different assets for yourself, and an asset can be a life insurance policy, it can be a car, it can be a home, it could be a business, right? Assets come in stock form, assets come in savings accounts, checking accounts, right? All of those are a form of assets. So when you pass, if you don't have things in place or give directions to your family members on who gets what and who gets to manage what, which we don't recommend, right? With me being in financial services, one of the things that we explain to you all is the importance of having a trust, right? If you have an actual trust, you can literally give directions from the grave, as I like to say. You can control from the grave. So after you pass away, if you have family members, of course, many of you have children that need to be still taken care of. If you have a trust in place, the trust will direct your family and your family members, and the trustee is the person who's going to be managing your trust as to what to do, right? So the example that I've shared with you all in the past is how my grandparents set up our trust. We had the Stewart Trust, but the stipulations that they put on that trust, it really determined if we would have access to it. So many of you all, like I said, as you're building your wealth, you're doing a lot of things right now for the benefit of your family, your kids, your grandkids. So in order for you to make sure that they're going to keep up with what you want for the family, right? If you have a family house and you want to make sure that none of them ever sell the house, you can put a stipulation like that in your trust, right? So like I shared with my grandparents, one of the stipulations for us as grandkids, in order for us to be able to access our trust, we had to have a college degree. So in my grandparents' age, in growing up, education was very, very big, right? So that's how they felt, was we had to get a college degree in order to succeed. And so that was a requirement that they had for me and my siblings in order for us to access our trust, right? If we did not have a college degree, we could not access the trust. And so those are some of the things that you can actually do when you have a trust. If you have a child right now who's maybe 18 and you know that they're not good with money, they're not financially savvy, you can put in your trust to give them an allowance for a certain amount of years, right? If maybe you don't want them to have access to the trust money until they're 30. So you can put that stipulation in there where they can get $2,000 a month until they're 30, and then they can have access to the full trust. Like, you literally are controlling what you left to your family members, what I like to say, from the grave, right? So we have a trust attorney, attorney Mario Reed. He's going to come on Tuesday and talk to us about why it's important for you to have a trust and estate plan. Also, as you all know, I'm a business owner. So some of the things that we're encouraging many of you all to do is think about setting up a small business, starting a home-based business, or starting a side hustle to make you additional income that you can now put into a product that is going to make you more money. Like what Money Coach Vince is going to talk about on Wednesday is your finances, right? How you can take the money that you're making today and put it into some other things, like maybe a brokerage account, a higher earning yield account, interest bearing account, to where you're actually earning money for your money sitting there, right? Because what a lot of you all don't understand is money is a tool. And so if it's just sitting in your savings account, if it's just sitting in your checking account, you're not really doing anything with it, right? So Vince is going to go more into what does that look like, right? What kind of account could you set up that you can manage? Maybe you can set up a Fidelity or a Charles Schwab account and open up a high yield money market account or something like that, right? He's going to go over that and talk to you all about that. We have attorney Joy Hunt, who I love, who is a business attorney, and Joy is going to talk about all things business, right? Why you may or may not want to start a business. What are some of the benefits to it? What are some of the contracts that you should maybe have in place, right? If you're a lash tech or you're a beautician, you may deal with people's eyes, right? There are certain contracts or documents that you should have in your business that covers you, right? So sometimes when you go to a tanning salon, they'll make you fill out a form or an agreement, right? So the same thing, many of you all in these different industries should actually have the same type of form or similar, especially when you're dealing with the skin or eyes or makeup, stuff like that. So she's going to talk to you about different contracts and agreements that you can also have in place outside of giving us some information on business grants and things like that. So Joy is a business attorney, so we're going to have a full conversation with her about that. I'm also excited for our speaker, Coach Jay, who is in federal government contracting. Now, I have shared with many of you all how federal government contracting can change your life, right? There are trillions of dollars, let's just say that, in the federal government contracting space. I've dibbled and dabbled in the last couple of years, but I have not gone full throttle the way that I really need to, which I plan to do in 2024. So Coach Jay is coming on Thursday to talk to us about how you can get into federal government contracting, how you can start looking these different government contracts up. Because if you didn't know, the federal government has to purchase from us, which is the United States. So any and everything that they need when it comes to toilet paper, tissue, paper towels, plates, forks, bedding, everything that they need to run the federal government, they buy from vendors. And most of these vendors are small businesses or large corporations who have federal contract agreements. And so if you didn't know, right, the average citizen can set up a company and start doing work with the federal government. It is not a long, lengthy process. A lot of people start making money and winning contracts within like 60 days from setting everything up. So it's very realistic. It's very detailed though. And so that's where I feel like a lot of people get thrown off or maybe don't go all the way with it. But Coach Jay is a expert in this field. This is what he does. He actually has a community where he teaches people like you and I how to get into federal government contracting, and how the process could be a lot easier if you knew or understood some of the options that are there for you, right? And then on Friday, I have Jerry Tolliver coming in. She is a business and personal credit expert, right? So if you all haven't remembered that I've shared with you, before I really got heavy in my business, I fixed my credit. And that changed my entire life, because the credit that I was able to obtain, I was able to start and run and keep my business running based off of my credit in the beginning, right? So having credit really literally can change your life. You cannot have $1 to your name, but if your credit is good, then that means you can access money. And if you can access money, that means you can turn that money into making more money. If you get a $3,000 credit card, the first thing that you should not be thinking is going shopping. If you get a $3,000 credit card, even though I'm here at the mall, if you notice, I'm sitting here. I'm here with somebody while they're shopping. I got my stuff. And what was I going to say? Oh, so even though you see different stores and stuff, right? Or sometimes when you all get a credit card, you want to go shopping. No, what you should not be doing is going shopping. What you should be doing is holding that $3,000 credit card and then figuring out, what can I invest in that is going to make me more money? So like me, I have t-shirts that say financially sexy, right? If I was someone, I would figure out, what can I buy that can make me more money. So if I knew that I could sell a couple of t-shirts, I would invest in getting more t-shirts made and selling more t-shirts, right? But the biggest thing is when you all get credit, most people just go spend it. But then you don't think about the amount of money that you're spending and how you have to pay that back, right? And so the goal is, if you get the credit, great. But then you need to be strategizing on what are you going to do to turn that money into making more money. And so we're going to go over that as well. And then, of course, with me being a tax expert, I'm going to be sharing with you all the benefits of being a business owner and how a lot of the things that you do in your business are a legal tax write-off and deduction. And so in that case, when you are handling business, because we have to spend the money anyway, right? But the beautiful thing is the IRS says, hey, if you're a business owner, I'm going to pretty much give you your money back for these specific things, right? So if I have an office, I get to write off that office. If I hire an employee or a staff or pay salary or wages, I get to write that off, right? If I'm traveling for business, that's a tax write-off and deduction, right? If I'm doing meals and entertainment, if I'm taking my guests out and I'm paying for the meal, that's a tax write-off and deduction. So these are things that I have to do anyway in my business. But within the laws of the IRS, when you're a business owner, they actually say, okay, hey, you can deduct that. So when you take a deduction, that actually helps from what you're paying out in taxes, right? And so that's why we're going to break down as to why companies, and I like to use Amazon because they're one of the biggest ones, but Amazon makes $1.2 billion a day, and they pay zero in federal taxes, okay? At the end of this year, when they file their taxes, because a lot of business and corporations are filing this month right now in December, a lot of them are not paying federal taxes. Whereas you all who are W-2 wage earners or single filers, you all are paying more in taxes than a big box company like Amazon. You get what I'm saying? So it's not that, it is. The system is rigged. It is what it is, right? But instead of arguing and fighting about the system, learn it. Learn the system. Learn what you can learn of what we're going to teach you in these next 5 days, so that way you can have a leg up. So that way you can start planning, you can start putting yourself together, making sure that you and your family are good. Because at the end of the day, unless until all of us as Americans understand that we have to work together in order to get these laws changed and to get things done, and until that happens, there's no point of arguing with each other about red or blue. Because at the end of the day, it's the same bird. Like right wing, left wing, same bird, right? So what I have done these last 10 years and what I've done with teaching and educating people that's in my community, who take my classes, who take my workshops, who's a part of my membership program, this is what we're doing. We're educating you so that way you can be informed and you know what you need to do to be able to protect yourself. You know what the money you need to make to be able to protect yourself. You know that you need to start a business so that way you can start writing stuff off just like Jeff Bezos, right? And that's the beautiful thing with business is if I make $100,000 in business, I'm not paying taxes on $100,000. Whereas the people who I do their taxes, if I have a client who makes $100,000, he on average pays about $20,000 to $25,000 in taxes, because you're in that tax bracket. Anytime you're making six figures, you're paying 21, 25, 26, 28%, right? And so instead of, again, being mad at the system, let's work the system for how it's set up. And how it's set up is you reap all of the benefits being a business owner. Not being an individual W-2 wage earner, not being a 1099 filer, because you all file on a Schedule C form, and a Schedule C form is taxed at about 36% on average. So again, if you made $100,000 on a Schedule C form, you're going to pay about 36% in taxes. I'm a corporation. The corporate tax rate is 21%. All right. We got Trump to thank for that, because he changed that, right? But as a business owner, it's more beneficial, and I pay less in taxes as a corporation than you do as a Schedule C filer. And so these are the type of things that you want to be able to learn and understand as you're maneuvering and you start making money. How do I work the tax code. And if you're not in taxes, then you need to be working with someone like me who can tell you these different strategies. You all are, I don't know if that's anything you had, you dropped something. Yeah, so that's it. I wanted to update you all and remind you because we start next week. It's Monday through Friday, December 11th through the 15th. And I've just had so much going on today. I had planned to kind of get on and do like a formal kind of informational live with you all. But this is the last summit of the year for 2023. And we have some amazing speakers. And so I wanted to get on to remind you all tonight. Check the link, click the information. I have the details here in this video. You can also text me and we can send you the link. So my text number, you can text Summit or you can text Power. Ooh, that noise is horrible. You can text Summit or you can text Power to 773-253-8668. I also put the details of that information and the actual link, Plstewart.club/power, and you can register. All 5 days is $197 for all 5 days. You also get access to the replays for 60 days. You have 60 days to watch this 5-day event. And again, we have 5 different speakers, including me. So that's 6 different topics that we're going over the next week, over the next 5 days. We meet every evening from 6 p.m. to 7:30 Central Standard Time. I am in Chicago, so we're always doing the workshops on my time zone. But we'll be on for an hour and a half every evening. And then you all will also have an option to speak to the speakers and ask a couple of questions at the end, get a little clarity from them, and then also get their information so that way you can move forward and work with any of them as you need, right? So again, we just want to make sure that we hit you with the solid information that you need before the end of the year so you can roll in 2024. All right, we are not broke. You do not have a broke and lack mindset. You need to know and understand when it's time to start pouring and investing in yourself. If you at the mall buying Jordans and clothes, but you don't have no money in the bank for real, I'm talking to you, okay? Because looking good and having no real money is not the play, okay? That's not the move. Especially if you grown and you over 30 on here, it's time to grow up and it's time to get your weight up, which is understanding taxes, credit, business, finances, trust, and estate planning if you got something. All right, so I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll be on live at some point. We'll make another announcement premiere about it, and you all have a good night.